I'm just like stopping by the Goosebuds iTunes page.
Okay.
And do you know how many reviews we need to get to 500 reviews?
I'm racing to look, but I think you're going to tell me before I get there.
I'm just going to tell you, Paul. You don't have to look.
I'm racing you. Go, go, go.
We need 27 reviews.
That's so close. For 500?
That's so close. And what a monumental thing it will be once we get there.
I'm looking at our other podcast. Now, I can't speak for Paranoia Shop, but I'm looking at like the ones that I've been... Okay, Continue Cast did get to 500 at one point. But not many other ones that we've done have gotten to 500, I don't think.
I just also want to say this, and this is to our beautiful listeners. The last review was left on November 15th, 2018. Guys, we got to get to work here, okay?
We got to get to work.
We need 27.
I will put it on us a little bit. We kind of forgot to read the reviews. We kind of forgot a little bit, so I get it.
Well, now we've got...
There hasn't been a new one since November 15th.
We've got a chicken and egg situation here, Chad. We can't read reviews if there aren't new reviews to read. So we need your help to get to 500 and to get more reviews for the three of us to read.
Be the change you want to see in the world. That kind
Look,
of
if
thing.
there's a message you want to get across on this show that you can hide in a review, go ahead and do that. If it's a hateful message,
no,
go away.
No.
Do not do that.
No.
Never.
If it's a
message about Chad's pants, if it's a rumor about Chad's pants,
we will not read that.
Hey.
We will call Tim Cook and have him remove it.
Chad knows Tim.
That's the head of Apple. I didn't think who that was. I was like, the guy that created Heroes?
I just said you knew him. Shit.
I did, yes,
literally...
of course.
Chad knows so many people he forgot he knew Tim
who
Cook,
he was.
okay?
Well,
so watch out.
I just call him Timmy.
I'm sorry. I should have known that you
Let me throw this out there. If you, in one of your reviews, can guess any of our exact gene measurements, I mean waist and leg length, you will get
I love that.
Those pair of jeans.
That's a wonderful, wonderful competition, and it's just one of us, right? It's not all three. You don't have to guess all three.
You got to pick one. You can't do three. You got to pick one person. You got to call out their jeans, waist and length. I'm gonna say like color. You gotta pick color.
Okay, that's tough.
General.
I was gonna say they're gonna be gradients of blue because there's so many blues.
I say it's like blue, black, white, gray.
White. I think, Dom, do you have a pair of white jeans?
I tried a pair on, and you could see the pockets.
Didn't like it.
Through the front of the pants, you could see the white pockets through the front of the pants, and I said pass.
Oh yeah, it's a tough look to pull off as well.
Wow, I'm gonna start using that. Ooh, that's tough to paw off. Only Paul could pull that off.
Paul do that, pawing it off.
I don't want to confirm nor deny that I have white. Yeah.
I knew that you and I didn't have white, Chad. We're not white jeans.
I'm just trying to add some mystery in the game here, Paul.
I'm sorry, but we gotta be upfront and honest about this.
That's fine.
All right. So the call to action is out there. Get in there. Log in, iTunes, get in there. 27 reviews. We need them, guys.
I got a question for the three of us that we all need to answer together.
Okay.
Do we think the Michelin Man, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and the Pillsbury Doughboy have crazy orgies together?
I think you're gonna say, are they related? But that also could still happen. It could be an incestuous orgy.
Not only do they know each other, but they also engage in such ridiculous sex acts, apparently. That's what you're asking us.
They're just I can tell that all three of them are narcissists, and they would want to fuck themselves, so why wouldn't they just fuck the thing that looks exactly like them? You know what I mean?
May I ask a follow-up question? I think this is important.
Yeah.
What size is Stay Puft at? Is this after Gozer takes the form? Or is this the rip-off Pillsbury Doughboy that he's supposed to be?
Oh, that's a tough question. I gotta say they would want to go with the biggest version.
Okay, I'm glad you said that because not to get too vulgar.
Yeah,
we already have a size discrepancy between Pillsbury and Michelin Man.
Mm-hmm.
And if we have Gozer-sized city-destroying Marshmallow Man, Stay Puft, that means we're gonna have like a Russian nesting doll effect of fucking.
That's what I was thinking.
Like sizes are different. Things are going into different orifices, maybe whole people.
And a Russian nesting doll effect of fucking.
Yeah.
And new favorite sentence set on Goosebuds.
And we know that if there is a love child, it's a tire, right?
Oh, yeah. That might be where they masturbate with.
No, they masturbate with the tire. Michelin Man pulls one of his tires off his body.
Or it's like a Pokemon evolution thing where they're all the same person. Not that they can't have sex with each other, but they're all the same like species. And Pillsbury's Charmander, Michelin Man is Charmeleon,
Charmander, and
Charizard, yeah, and that's the hierarchy. When you get to Stay Puft, if you haven't gotten all the gym badges yet, Stay Puft might not respect you.
Oh,
it might not listen to your commands, like Ash.
Well, that's what happened to the Goosebusters. That's why he got out of control.
I think it's more of a Eevee effect, where if you give it the tire stone, you're going to get
Oh.
You give it
the marshmallow stone, you're going to get Stay Puft.
If you give it the biscuit stone, it becomes the Pillsbury Doughboy.
Biscuit or
biscuit stone?
The biscuit stone. Yeah, no, let's go biscuit. I like biscuit.
What were you going to go with?
I just thought a raw thing of cookie dough.
I was just thinking about those cinnamon rolls, but no, biscuit.
They're all delicious. I would eat the raw cookie dough, actually.
I love those biscuits.
Can I spin off that for a second? I just want to bring this up. I was walking my dog this morning. I had a thought. This is what I think about in the morning. Was out of nowhere, I was like, man, the movies and books and fiction sure make heroin just sound like fucking great. Like really good. I can't even imagine how good heroin must be. But immediately my mind was like, I know I'll never do it because it's too addictive. Like, and my comparison was, you're right, Chad. You have a hard enough time not eating just like raw cookie dough all the time. Can you imagine? Can you imagine heroin?
The heroin of baked goods is cookie dough. Is raw cookie dough.
Yeah, and I used cookie dough as kind of like, you can't shake that. How are you going to shake off the dragon or whatever the fuck they call heroin?
That's wise of you, Chad. It's very wise of you.
Very wise. Did you have an immediate craving for cookie dough? Because I would have. Of course. If my brain went through the same train of thought, I'm like, oh yeah, I can't do that because I like that too much. Ooh, that.
Yeah.
Did you know they make cookie dough that doesn't have eggs in it now, so you can safely eat it?
It's funny. I've heard that. I really have been honest. I've probably had like 400 rolls of uncooked cookie dough in my life.
Oh, look, I'm not scared. I'm not scared.
I don't know if I'm like rolling the dice every time and I'm just, my number is about to come up or what, but I ain't scared.
Don't be scared of that.
You're good. You're big. If you were a baby, I would say, Chad, maybe don't.
If you're a baby.
You're a big man. You're a man.
I guess that's true.
Chad. If you got if somehow you got babied, you got like a magician turned you into a baby and we all knew it was you trapped inside the baby's body, still Chad, still with the same mental faculties of our friend Chad, we would not let you eat that cookie dough because we know you would be strongly into it because your Chad mentality would still be there.
I guess that's fair. Or maybe that'll be my sign. Like I can't talk, but I just eat a bunch of cookie dough so you guys know. Like, it's me?
Yeah, that's how we would test it to make sure it is you.
We gotta find a baby who loves cookie dough. Where's Chad?
Well, you know what it is? It's it's like that story you do for whenever you want someone to be reincarnated. You present the baby with like their 10 favorite things, and whichever 3 they choose, that means they're the reincarnated. I was gonna say Genghis Khan. I forget what the name for the Dalai Lama. Dalai Lama is.
I think it's just the Dalai Lama.
Dalai Lama, yeah.
I think that's from Emperor of the Sun, isn't it?
It's from Emperor of the Sun. It's from a lot of things.
It's also a tradition, but I mean, I think we know that from seeing that scene.
They also put it in Lost because, of course, they did. But like, you just present me with a bunch of things, and as soon as the baby goes for the cookie dough, you're like, it's him. Chad's back.
It's Chad.
Good. Also, we should probably take that away from him.
Nice try, magicians. Turning my friend into a baby. We found him.
Here, I'm looking to see. I think it's just the Dalai Lama, Chad. I think that's
no.
Just
you're right.
name.
I just couldn't think of the name for the Dalai Lama, but
I think it's just.
I'm pretty sure I know that scene. Now, if movies taught me anything, is that they're reality, and I'm pretty sure that's from Emperor. Wait, is Emperor of the Sun the war one?
Are you thinking of the Eddie Murphy Golden Child? What are you?
The Last Emperor. Wait,
Emperor's New Groove.
David Byrne did music for it.
Empire of the Sun is the Christian Bale movie. It's when he's young Christian Bale.
One. Okay. Not that one.
I don't know that there is an Emperor of the Sun.
Oh, what am I thinking? Hold on, I just gotta look it up.
In Emperor's New Groove, they present David Spade's llama with his 10 favorite things, and that proves that he's the emperor.
Yes, yeah.
The Last Emperor.
Okay, if we had The Last Emperor, good reference, Dom.
Thanks. Hey, thank you.
If we had to prove that a baby was Chad, besides, we'd have to have 3 objects that we would present to it, and if it loved it, we would know it was Chad. One would be the cookie dough, which we wouldn't let it eat because that would be dangerous. What would be the other 2 things? Chad, you're not allowed to weigh in. Me and Dom will do this. Dom, pick one.
What would be the other objects baby Chad would have to pick for us to know it was baby Chad?
Mm-hmm.
Archie.
Aww.
That's beautiful. And Samson?
Yeah, I mean that's I think that's it.
I was gonna lay out a bunch of books.
Yes.
Young adult books, and one of them would definitely be an Animorphs book, and I'm positive that Chad would pick the Animorphs book.
I like that.
I think if we know anything, and this is, guys, dummy segue over here. If I know anything about Chad, is that I would bring the horror of Camp Jellyjam. And if Chad chose that, I would know it was truly Chad.
I think that's a good call. Good call, Dom, because I've been like Babe Ruth pointing at the stands. I've been talking about this book for, I feel like, since the beginning of this podcast.
Chad, I think this is the reason we started this podcast.
It might have been.
I'm pretty sure we've been doing this podcast for a long time. We have been doing this podcast for 5 years.
5 years, yep.
I concur. This July 14th, will be 5 years. Okay?
Really? We should do something.
And Chad has been talking about Camp Jellyjam, and I just got to go ahead and say that he had a reason to talk. Now let's talk. Now let's butt up and do this.
Yes.
It's Jellyjam, baby. Look at this image that you posted in our Discord, Chad. Is that supposed to be King Jellyjam there?
I looked that up. That, according to the Wikipedia, that is the French artwork, which is very different than the sex criminal that is the iconic cover of Camp Jellyjam.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. This is incredibly horrifying. That's the scariest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, it also kind of spoils the book.
That's the scariest Goosebumps-related thing I've ever seen.
Yes, easily.
Wow, that thing is horrifying.
Just a purple Marlon Brando coming at you.
And it's got very sharp teeth. Okay.
Razor teeth.
Before I'm going to start talking about the monster and everything, we got to talk about this book. Let's go ahead and set it up. Chad, do you want to set it up?
Sure. You
must do the honors.
And I want to hear how you guys felt about it. I got a text from Paul that said, what was your quote word? It was that it blew you away.
This book blew me away.
It blew you away. This is a story where things happen. And we start with our family once again that hates each other. You got 2 young kids, Wendy and Elliot, and boy oh boy, it seems like their parents and them just don't get along. Let's just jump to the divorce right away because
hold on. They were in a very long car ride.
I guess, yeah.
Tensions are high.
It's a classic 90s situation. It's a situation that nobody growing up today has to deal with, and that's being bored in a car because you have so much entertainment now on the go. Before,
that's true.
You had nothing.
You had a couple books, maybe. Yeah.
This is our walking 10 miles in the snow with no shoes. This is what we get to talk about. When I was your age, we'll talk about driving in a car, and all we had to do was make up fucking shitty games like, think of a word that begins with the last letter of the word that I just said.
Oh,
like
yeah, this fucking game. By the way, is that a real car game? I wrote that down.
It's hard. Sure. Oh, it's horrible. Sure, anything can be a car game because you're so bored.
I like the movie one. I've done the movie one before.
What's the movie one?
Same rule.
When you're that bored in a car, anything that isn't staring at the road coming toward you incessantly is a game.
By the time Game Boy Advance came out, we were too old for long car rides.
I know.
Okay? We didn't do that anymore.
I know.
Yeah. Because I had the Game Boy with no light on it. So as soon as I knew that sadness of as soon as you're driving, when the sun goes down, those all go away.
All the games went away. Mm-hmm.
All the games went away.
And let's face it, Game Boy games were way too hard on purpose because they were only like 3 levels long. They stank.
It's true. It's very true.
But Link's Awakening is very good. But anyway, we're not going to get into that. We're talking about this book. We're talking about these kids. These kids are in this car. They're so bored. Chad, they're angry. They're getting testy. How they feel?
They hate each other. They are going back and forth. There's some real just bad dialogue improv of just like, Mom, I get car sick. And then Mom goes, Elliot, you never get car sick. And Elliot's like, Oh, that's right. I don't get car sick. Cool. Glad I read this page. But they're just bickering. And to quell the boredom, to stop this incessant hour-long trip. I don't know if they say exactly where they're going, but they do mention, by the way, that like I think they said they're leaving Iowa, so you can kind of place where Camp Jellyjam is in terms of the United States. The kids are like, hey, we're bored. Why don't we go hang out in the camper that we're trailing behind the car? Like, that'll be so much fun, which I think is just like, let's get away from our parents.
And I love Dad's reaction. He literally says, what could go wrong when they let the kids do it?
What could go wrong? And they're also, by the way, talking about how much like, oh, next summer you can go to camp. You can totally, the wish fulfillment fantasy has been planted. Solid basic storytelling.
Yep.
So Wendy and Elliot, they get in the back of the trailer, and we follow a long, detailed description of an arm wrestling competition. Like all of the scores, the brackets.
The description of Elliot's vein in his head.
Yes, the important character build-up stuff, but a lot of like, I'm not going to let him beat me.
Actually,
and then Wendy going, yes.
Chad, what I did love about this book is it sets up some bits about Elliot in this that are used later on to great effect.
No, it's general storytelling foreshadowing.
Yeah.
And boy, oh boy, was it refreshing to read.
It was very refreshing to have that.
And you learn that Wendy, she's not nearly as competitive as her younger brother, Elliot. He always wants to win the arm wrestling competition. She even lets him win a couple times. Let's not get into who might have actually won if they both tried. Elliot is a winner. He is a hard, fast, and competitor. He will probably play basketball later in his life. Just take a wild shot. And as they're riding in the back, they just realize, oh, hey, this trailer is no longer attached to the car. Like some sort of planes, trains, and automobiles type gag.
What could go wrong, Dad? What could?
And I guess somehow the car the parents are driving, they didn't notice the trailer came off. And they're now just rolling down a hill in what is genuinely a dangerous set piece of flying through trees, and they're not stressed down to anything. And the camper lands at bottom of woods. They've lost sight of the road. It seems very likely that if they had been an inch off anywhere, they would have hit a tree, and it would have just been about two dead kids. And it would have been about the bears eating their corpses.
I thought about this scene. You know, I'm already thinking about the adaptation. I think I like this book so much.
Yeah?
And I'm thinking, right here, very scary, real moment. We could set it up. It's gonna get scary. And it starts with this real life scary moment, huge crash, but everything's okay. Everything's all right.
Has this one not been adapted to TV?
I don't think so.
Oh,
maybe because it's impossible to do with where the story goes. I don't know.
It
shouldn't be.
Now
I think it's a little too. I honestly think it's a little too gross for.
It is a little.
Kids.
It is a little gross. And speaking of gross,
and that's why it blew my mind. We got to. Yeah. Go ahead. Chad.
Speaking of gross, who knocks at their camper door? Now that the dust has settled. But Buddy, a counselor from Camp Jellyjam, who has just wandered across their camper.
He is 70% teeth.
He has 70% teeth, as the cover makes it seem. He is gesturing. If you picture the cover, I feel like he is constantly just thrusting his groin forward.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the worst covers for a book, which is a shame because of how good this one is. But I was never drawn to this one because of the cover.
Oh, see, it always stuck with me. It always stuck with me because of how it felt like a real guy or something. I don't know.
It's a real horror. I like, that's what I gotta say is I kind of agree with you, Dom. The cover is not enticing, but it is scary. I think this cover is very scary.
It's implying that there's something about like something lurking underneath and a forced grin that hits me personally more than slug ooze aliens coming out of eggs or whatever is like another cover, because I'm like that's cartoony. I don't think that's real at all. But I think that's a very valid complaint for sure. But I think we're getting into the core of what starts to be is that very quickly our two heroes, Wendy and Elliot, are brought into Camp Jellyjam, and Buddy's like, oh, hey, I'm just a counselor for nearby camp where we all love sports. Why don't you come with us? We'll totally just set you up. We'll call your parents. Not at all inducting you guys into the camp, even though they're going to immediately join the camp.
They're totally doing it. Real quick, we need to say that he is part of King Jellyjam Sports Camp, and he has the logo on him, does he not?
I believe he just has the shirt, which is only the best.
Sorry, they see it when they get to the camp.
But there's a banner or a sign that has like, I think they describe it as like a grape or like a Michelin man, like a purple Michelin man with a king's crown on it, which is kind of a weird mascot for a camp.
But it feels like a very 90s mascot, and it works for me.
Yeah, I think it hit for it. I didn't remember that at all. I just thought that the camp was called Jellyjam, and they didn't acknowledge, a mascot. But it's cool how much they set it up.
Slime was real big in the 90s, especially
That's
the mid-90s. So a slime monster king as the camp mascot really made sense for me.
Hey, slime is popular again. You go to Office Depot. Or like a general office supply store, you know what happens when you go to the aisle for glue? There are just now signs everywhere that go, "Hey, parents, buy this for your kids so they can make slime."
They have slime there?
Do you not know about the rise of slime popularity on the internet now?
Oh my god! I just realized that my niece was asking for slime for Christmas. I didn't even realize that slime was coming back.
Wake up, Paul! Wake up!
I've been missing it. I'm getting old.
Your family members getting brought in
the Target children's section. In the section, it's near the board games, but it's put on the side for little girls.
Mm-hmm.
Is just clear glue, clear Elmer's glue that you can now buy.
Wow.
For making slime. But slime, the Camp Jellyjam, they're in Camp Jellyjam. Buddy's wearing a shirt. It says "Only the best."
I loved it.
I love, and they not only does he wear the shirt that says "Only the best," but whenever he sees another camper or another what are they called? The people that take care of the campers,
counselors.
The counselors. Whenever he sees another counselor, it's like a almost like Hail Hydra like mantra between them.
Yeah, I wrote that down that like they're not even working the phrase "only the best" into natural conversation.
No.
Like bad version would be, boy, I'm so excited to have some of those great kosher hot dogs for dinner tonight. And someone's like, yeah, only the best kosher hot dogs. No, they're just like chanting it randomly in the middle of their sentences. It's kind of great.
It's great, and it works really well for the reveal later.
Yes.
But Elliot and Wendy, it's Wendy, right?
Wendy. Yeah, the hamburger girl.
Quick. Is it Wendy with an I though?
I think it's with a Y.
It's the official.
It's a Y. All right, we're moving on. Skip that. Let's keep going. They say, "Hey," Buddy's like, "Hey, what's up? What are you guys doing? Hey, you guys want to join a camp? Come with me." And so they go over the hill and they go into Camp Jellyjam. And there's kids all running around in their uniforms, wearing their t-shirts, only the best. And everyone is gaming. And I'm not talking about sitting in your computer chair. I'm talking sports balls and sports gloves.
Move it or lose it, gaming.
I would love a gaming esports camp. And God, I just realized that probably exists.
There has to be one.
That has to be a thing.
That would be fun.
I want to mention,
it might be really awful, actually.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things where they like, hey, if you want to get your son outside, it's like a camp where you stay and they put you in a computer lab, but then they make you spend like 3 hours outside. Like that's probably what it is now.
And they have all the games that you do outside would definitely be like games. Like
oh my God, there's like Fortnite. It's capture the flag.
Exactly, yeah.
But we have some wooden boxes set up.
I mean, we had. Did you guys do LAN parties when you were younger?
God, I miss LAN parties.
We all know. Okay, so a big part of camp for kids coming of age is being curious about sex. At gamer camp, the fire hydrant would just be gushing onto the street. No, the
is that a sex metaphor?
Fire department is not coming by to stop it. The flow of dark pornography to these children's lives. I don't want to be there. I don't want my child at gamer camp.
You're saying esports camp would quickly become just downloading torrents of porn and sharing it.
Well, this would always happen we would have LAN parties. And we'd all be playing like CS on like or Team Fortress on like a local server, and then for whatever reason, because of LAN reasons, the server would crash. They'd be like, "All right, we'll take a break. Everybody get a drink, and then we'll do the server again." And what that would devolve into is like probably like 10 minutes of like just guys hanging out and watching porn together, and it was like, "What are you guys doing?
Wait, so I'm not the only one that encountered that? Okay, I feel so relieved.
No, it was always a thing that would happen. It's like, servers are down, going into the porn folder. It's like, come on, guys.
I never encountered my LAN parties, because usually we were like at a public place where the guy watching it would be like, hey guys, knock it off. But I feel like a couple of times at someone's house to play video games, there would be a, hey, you want to see what I download off of Kazaa? And I was like, cool. I'm going to make a mental note to download this later. I don't want to watch porn with you right now, dude. Like, I'm good.
You guys want to hang out and get bones together?
You want to hang out? You want to sit around with unfulfilled boners together? Cool.
Yeah.
Anyway,
this is not
gamer
that type
camp,
of camp.
Bad idea. Let's keep going. Sports gloves, sports balls. This is good game camp.
I want to mention,
or is it?
I want to mention, or is it? I want to mention before they go completely in. We have what I really appreciate in this book, like legit chapter cliffhangers of, as they're going in, a little redhead girl pokes her head around a tree and is saying, like, don't come in, run, get out of here. And it's
an
not,
actual horror happens.
And it's not a like, haha, I was just teasing you or whatever. It's legitimately, oh, that is a girl that is on the run for her life.
Yes.
Now, and I do have to applaud this book, and I think I have to be a little nice to Mr. Stein here. There is one prank fake out.
Yes.
That comes pretty quickly. Now, the prank fake out, I think if you are a, 33, 34-year-old man, and you've been reading Goosebumps books for almost 5 years, you get pretty sick and tired of these damn fake outs.
Yeah.
But if you're a kid, I know maybe it'll scare you here and there. But, sometimes it's used to set up that something bad will happen to this character because they were a jerk and they were a jerk to you. They freaking faked you out too.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of understand the device now. I've kind of come to peace with it, especially in this book, because it only happens once and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it's her bunkmates, right? Like it is when by the way, so like just to explain, they're like, yeah, well, totally, call your parents. Why don't you make yourself comfortable? Play some sports, jump in the pool. Like, forget safety waivers or anything. They're very much like naturally just kind of like sliding them into becoming campers without them knowing it or them thinking about it. So they're like, here's a bunk, just hang out here. And it's her bunk mates, like her new roommates who are not even at all worried where she came from, immediately pranking her, which I agree with you, Dom. It helped a little bit into, it's a dumb prank, but it helps you, like, these three girls are going to be her friends, like, because they kind of, like, all like it.
Yeah, like, I think
they infer that they're going to beat her in, right?
Well, they infer that they're going to get her now that she's trapped.
Which is definitely going to beat her in.
Which is beating, what is that called? Induction?
Are we talking about, like, soap bars and socks?
Yeah, soap and socks.
I'm talking Proud Boys punching and pushing on a lawn somewhere.
Oh my God, there's totally like Proud Boy groups at esports camp. There's like 12-year-old Proud Boys.
Of course.
The Proud Boys gate race that they have to do to get inducted in.
But I'm actually not talking about that fake out. So this is a fake out that's like, oh my God, it's like chapter cliffhanger. I'm okay with this one. I wouldn't even consider this one a bad thing of what I'm talking about. The bad one is in one or two chapters where she finally sees Elliot and Elliot's like dead on the ground.
Yeah.
And then it turns out he's not. But that's what I was talking about. This one I actually kind of like because you have Alicia who's like, you got to get out of here. You got to get out of here right now. I'm on the run. This redheaded girl, I believe her name is Alicia. And so you have that, and then you have this where she's about to be gotten by her bunkmates. I actually like this one because it was like, oh no, they're going to bully her. Psych, they're actually going to be friends with her.
Yeah.
And now she's here, and now she's in the camp. And I actually really like this chain of events that happens because it feels dreamlike almost. Like suddenly we're in camp, and like she always wanted to go to camp, and she's actually having fun. They're both wondering where their parents are, but they just get caught up in the cult-like rhythm of the camp where it's like, hey, you're here, okay, you're in camp, go compete.
Right.
Yeah, there's one moment. Yeah, go ahead, Paul.
I do love that fake out that Elliot plays on her where he's planking out on the ground, because if you really like pay attention to what's happening in the story, he's playing dead. She sees it. You have the cliffhanger. He gets up and is like, haha, I got you. Okay, yeah, typical fucking Goosebumps fake out. Then he takes her back to his ping pong game that he was in the middle of, that he left in the middle of to go prank his sister randomly and then comes back to the game.
I didn't think about that at all.
And finishes the game.
Okay, I love that. Let me pitch a slight adjustment on which made it amazing, and maybe it was supposed to be foreshadowing. Let's say Elliot's laying on the ground because he's exhausted. He's not just pranking his sister. He's like, I'm beat. I've been doing like 10 sports. Oh, by the way, I gotta say my favorite thing is I feel like this is my favorite book so far we've read, honestly.
Yeah.
I think RL doesn't know what sports are because he would just keep referring to them as like sports, or like in an hour Elliot's played a baseball game and soccer. Like I don't think RL, because he was a guy who was a shut-in, a kid, I don't think he knows how long sports take. So there's a weird timeline to things.
I actually really like that, and that made it more dreamlike for me, because the girls they go to prank Wendy, and then they're like, gosh, I'm so tired from our last event, and then they're all like, we got to get ready for the next event. And if we haven't explained it, which I'm not sure we have, Camp Jellyjam is just sports. Sports are happening all the time, and you only get a medal or a coin, a Camp Jellyjam coin, King Coin maybe they're called.
Yeah, King Coin.
Yeah.
But they're awarded a gold coin if they come in first place or they win whatever they're doing. And just events are happening all day. So they come from an event, they meet Wendy, they're exhausted, but then they've got to go swimming. So they're like, hey, Wendy, come join us. Come swimming with us. It's a 4-lap race. We're going to go swimming.
Yeah, and I would mention too that you're right, Dom. It's like without meaning to, or whether they did or not, it's very much like a cult mentality of keeping you from being able to stop and think about either calling your parents
they inundate you with activity to the point where you're like overwhelmed by it and exhausted.
Yeah, I think even Wendy says like she would just like to like lay out by the pool and not do a sport. But it's continually just do physical exertion, which is kind of a brainwashing technique a little bit.
Yeah,
definitely. Just to wear you out physically so that you're ready to give in to any kind of suggestion.
Yeah. The other main rule we got to lay out too is that you find out very quickly that as you win these events, not only do you get king coins if you come in first or win your game, that if you get 6, you get to go in what they call the winner's walk, which we quickly see in the very first night. I think this is after maybe they swim, and I think that's what you're getting into is an important character thing of Wendy goes and does a swim competition.
She lets the girl win.
She lets the girl win because she saw that she wanted it so badly, which is nice. It's a nice humorous thing. And another one where like, I was never good. I used to do swim competitions. I don't think there's any way to clock what your teammate, like your competitors' reactions are under the water. There's a lot of like, I could see that Deirdre had a really sad look on her face as I was beating her. It's like, you can't tell. Yeah, you can't tell that when you're swimming. It is just thrashing and breathing frantically.
R.L. Stein may have never swam.
R.L.'s maybe never been in a pool.
Competitively.
But it's a cool detail. So she lets, I think it's Deirdre win, or is it?
It's Deirdre. Deirdre's the main girl,
Deirdre's the main girl.
Is it Deidre or is it Daedra?
I think it's Deirdre.
Maybe it's Daedra. Like she's the most competitive one, so it's Daedra.
If you are named this, please leave an iTunes review and let us know.
I think it's an interesting thing, and I do wish, by the way, that like I wish the 3 girls had slightly distinct personalities just to be able to tell, like, not that the book had time, but I do kind of wish like one's the nerd and one's the super competitive one and whatever. Like one's the one that never wins, so she's. But you find out at the end of the night, I think Deirdre, or is Deirdre? Yeah, she's gotten her 6th coin, I believe.
And she goes on the winner's walk.
She goes on the winner's walk, which I don't know how you guys felt about it. I feel like the winner's walk could be both very creepy or the lamest fucking thing.
I read it as
it seemed really creepy.
I thought it was
creepy.
But I think it is creepy, yeah.
I mean, they walk... So, explain it, Chad. They've got torches.
You get torches, which is probably the creepiest thing.
That's right, there were torches. It was creepy.
Yeah, I was picturing it first.
It's torches out in the middle of the dark.
Yeah, so when I first pictured it, I was picturing... And this is how they describe it, is that you'll go somewhere and you will march in front of all the other campers who will cheer your names and clap on you. And then you just raise your torches in the air and that's it. And in my mind, I was picturing like a well-lit track and just people sitting on benches watching as people walk by with no music or fanfare. And like, yeah, I guess that was it. They don't even get like a cake or anything. They just walk by. But in terms of knowing that they're very quickly, when you realize they're on some sort of like march to death, the winner's walk takes on a lot more sinister impression, especially with the torches. I think adds on a lot.
Well, and Daedra doesn't even respond to anything. I believe they're cheering for her, and it gets no response. Am I correct?
I think you're right. I know that, and then afterwards they're like, "Oh, cool. We'll go celebrate. We'll raid and get a pizza from the cafeteria." I'm like, cool. I don't know if they have those. This seems like a pro physical sports. All they're going to have is like protein shakes. But yeah, you go get pizza. They get a bunch of junk food. It's a cool kids fantasy. They bring them back to the dorm, where I think it's important to note that there are no counselor supervisions.
Like, they can go and come and go as they please in these dorms,
which I think adds to the dreamlight stake a little bit. Like, Dom, you really hit it in that. There's things where, like, in the moment you wouldn't really think about it, but in retrospect, you're like, that's kind of terrifying that these kids are just left alone, and you don't know where these adults are. And
well, something we missed before the first winter's walk that we see is there's an earthquake.
Oh, and yes.
Wendy's concerned about it, and Buddy's just like, it's all good.
It happens
once or twice a day.
Yeah, I wanted one line of like, oh, we're on a fault line or something. They don't even try to explain it. Like, just don't worry about it.
It just happens with the dreamlike thing. That happens.
Yeah, it's just a very strange atmosphere. And the fact that there is no supervision adds to that, but it also adds to the fact, the reveal later. It's like a false sense of freedom because they know where you are.
Yeah, it's also that they're not worried about you running, which is interesting because this is one of the times where I feel like characters are smart enough to flee when they need to flee. Mm-hmm. And it gets into but we're jumping the lease a little bit. The biggest horror thing comes very quickly where like they have their big babysitters club type party where they're just eating food. On the esports, this would be where they'd be sharing all the porn. And they're like, that's weird.
Of course.
Yeah, they're really Deirdre hasn't shown up. Like, she won, and it's a party in her honor. Where is she gone? And they actually, I'm glad, instead of just going to sleep, they decide to go out and look for her.
Right, they take an action, right, Chad?
Yes, I love it so much, as opposed to, we went to sleep, and then the next morning, Deirdre still wasn't there. It's so much more interesting.
I was honestly subconsciously thinking about this, because action is happening throughout this entire book, and it's really satisfying, because so often in Goosebumps books, it's like, I was wondering, but then I left it go, and sure enough, wow, where is it? It's happened, and I have even less information. And It's like, oh, okay, well, you missed your opportunity, kid.
Yeah, totally. So the girls go out. They run into the redhead girl who, again, is just hiding in the trees like a feral child, warning people to get out of there. But before she can give her more information, the counselors catch them and tell them to go back to their bunks. The fate of Deirdre is unknown. And I think there's a little bit of period of time where it's all solid storytelling, but it is encroaching danger of, as the days go on and Wendy and Elliot think less and less of their parents. There's one moment where she's about to go call her parents, and then one of her friends distracts her and she completely forgets about it. And it doesn't feel annoying. It's like, it's the dreamlight state. More kids are just disappearing. The ones who are on the walks, ones we meet, they don't come back the next night. And worst of all, Elliot, being the competitive kid he is, insists on getting king coins. Mm-hmm. He swears he needs to. And it gets to the point where Wendy has the most sense of any Goosebump kid we've ever seen. Multiple kids that they've known are gone. She plans an escape.
I was just going to say, I love that they set up this, like you said, basic foreshadowing of these characters, like actions and motivations and how they act. But I love that it gives an excuse for Elliot to be going after these coins and for Wendy to not be getting these coins because she's not that competitive. And it creates a tension because you know that a bad thing is going to happen to Elliot when he gets his sixth coin. So it sets up like this sort of like this like hourglass that's dropping out right in front of you, and you can see it happening. So it creates a nice tension throughout the bottom.
And it comes back to the phone. She finally does get to a phone. She picks it up, and it's, what is it? It's just a recording. It's just, welcome to Camp Jellyjam. Mm-hmm. And it's like, and she's like, what the fuck? So she hangs it up. She picks it up again. It's the same goddamn thing. She picks up the other phone. It's the same goddamn thing. You can't make a phone call here. Those are the phones at Chuck E. Cheese where Chuck tells you jokes.
Those are great. That's a great reference for it. It makes it suddenly feel like, oh, I thought I had freedom, but I'm actually very much trapped here.
Yeah, and that's when she decides, we got to get out of here. I'm planning an escape.
And I do want to say, too, like, right before she makes the escape, the other mounting pressure I really like is that it seems like they're always they're left to their own devices. But whenever, Wendy is either slacking or talking to someone what happens to kids, or she doesn't win a competition, Buddy or one of the other counselors just kind of appears. Like they've always just been watching it in hidden sight. And they're like, you didn't win the competition. Are you slacking? You really gotta try harder. And there's never a threat made, but it puts this weird pressure of like, if Wendy doesn't try, something will happen to her.
There's a lot of passive-aggressive bullshit going on at this camp.
Yeah, and you're also like, oh god, are they just gonna like kill this girl if she doesn't try hard?
Right.
More cult-like personality, more cult-like techniques. They check in on you and they say, "Hey, we noticed that you don't really believe."
You got to up those
like,
theme levels.
I believe. I swear, I believe.
Yeah, you got to do some Dianetics, up those theme levels. Just really make sure you're at the right level.
We don't think you've given us enough money. I'll give you more money. I'll go, sure.
And in making you give those concessions, you start to convince yourself and you start to believe.
This is very sad.
It is sad. It's a sad, scary.
No, I'm just taking by going like, yeah, that's pretty much how a cult works. With that in mind, this is also the scary part. Wendy decides to lead the cult. She doesn't know what's happening to these kids. She can tell that she doesn't want to win the winner's walk or stick around to see what happens. And she knows that Elliot is close to winning his 6th and thus final king coin. And she even tries to, convince her brother to come. And this is the part where like, part of me goes, listen, if you're really that much bigger, just throw him over your shoulder and carry him out. But she makes a deal with him. Like, he's like, no, I at least want to get the king coin. And then we can leave or call my parents or whatever. I'm going to do this race tomorrow morning and we'll head out. She agrees. And while Elliot's sleeping away, resting up, getting ready for the big game, Wendy decides to go out and look. And as she does, she follows several counselors who are like marching. In my mind, I just pictured them like Klansmen in robes, just like all white.
Absolutely.
Just following through the woods at night in a different direction.
I feel like there's like he doesn't say anything like that, but there's like, he definitely portrays it like this is like a very creepy clan like cult.
I also pictured every single person was white. Like I pictured for some reason, I pictured they were all white, vaguely supremacist cult for some reason.
Yes.
There's a little bit of like white power to it. But as she follows them in, they lean right into it. I loved it so much. I'd forgotten about this. Wendy follows them into what's like a giant domed building in the middle of the woods off the path. And
that's kind of underground, right?
I think it leads underground. Yeah. And she says there's like hundreds of counselors, which she doesn't, step out, but as most we've ever seen is like 2 or 3. So this place is crawling with creepy adults. So she follows them in, and because it's so dark, she's able to kind of just like hide, I guess, in the dark alleyway and watch. And she finds a closet that she hides in with like. She finds a closet. I was a little confused of what is in this place because I was like, it feels like an underground stage theater and also a Thunderdome. I'm not exactly sure, but as she does, I believe she finds first a big giant like stage, and there she sees Buddy, the guy from the cover, actually hypnotizing everyone. Like all the counselors. And himself, which is interesting. Like he's renewing his own hypnotism.
Well, he said something, we must be refreshed or we must be revived here. We're going to get our energy back.
You're re-upping the hypnotism.
He's swinging around one of them king coins, and he's hypnotizing everybody, including himself.
And it's all about how they must be only the best, only for King Jellyjam. And as this goes on, she follows deeper down a passage. She does the horror trope where she like sneezes, right? She goddamn sneezes, and Buddy's like, "Who's that over there? We can't see in the darkness." Doesn't disrupt the hypnotism. They're all still evil, but she decides to run farther down the cave.
Yeah, she like turns. She thinks we have a fake out where she thinks she's hiding in a closet, and then she realizes, oh no, there's a tunnel that I can go down, and she goes down.
Oh,
the tunnel.
I misread that. Okay, so I thought it was like she was actually just in a random cabinet that's in the cave. It's actually the doorway farther down.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that makes way more sense. I missed that detail. And as she goes down, I will say the weirdest image in Goosebumps yet. Yes. It is she sees she sees all of the previous Winter Walks champions. Deirdre's in there. There's like the really mean boy that kept beating Elliot at sports.
Alicia's there, right?
Alicia's there. I think the redhead girl had gotten caught at that point, right?
I think
Alicia's the redhead girl. Yeah,
she might not be there. I don't remember exactly.
I can't remember, but they're all working hard, and they are basically scrubbing a giant purple gelatinous monster that is clearly King Jellyjam, with like amazing description of what, like the eyes rolling into the back of his head,
yellow eyes.
Like
he's got a crown on. He is wearing a crown.
The weird
Chad, yes. This is where I will say I was reading this book and I stopped reading for this moment and I was blown away and I said, Chad did not lie. Chad did not lie. This is the greatest Goosebuds book that has ever been written.
Is it the detail of it sweats snails?
It's actual horror.
Yes.
And like there's so many monsters throughout all of his books, but none of them are really that threatening, right? They're just kind of like, it's like, it's a weird thing and it like can't really do any harm to them. This is like true terror. This is a monster that is forcing these kids to be his fucking cleaning slaves and to like mop him down and wipe snails off of him. And they're all the kids are crying and they're exhausted and they look like they've been working like 80-hour weeks. They're all like haggard and
yeah, one of them is bawling. It smells so sour down there.
It's like an iPhone factory. Am I right?
It is. It is a scary scene. And not only are snails being sweated out of this creature, I would just say they're being birthed out of this creature. And each time one of them plops out of its gelatinous purple body, it makes a clicking sound because the snail hits the ground and they crawl off. And that is so gross to me. That it's just this clicking going on in this underground cave. And when you hear it click, you know that he gave birth to more snails.
Yes.
It's so gross.
Dare I say, this is RL's greatest spook.
And I just want to just another call to action here to the listeners. I know a lot of you are artistic folks. I know, and this is inspired by the French artwork for this book. I want you to draw this creature.
Yeah.
Go look it up. Go look up the PDF, or if you have the real book, just get to this chapter, read the description of this character, and draw him, because it is truly horrifying. It is gross, and I'd like to see what you guys can do.
I was picturing a little bit like...
Tweet it to us.
Yes, please. I was picturing a little bit... the super fat vampire from the first Blade movie, like whatever.
Oh yeah.
that's like something out of Seven. I was picturing something like that, and I think you're right, Dom. That not only is the sound of the snails dropping, I guess I had added this detail in my head, but I always imagine too that like because it's so dark and kids are around there like trying to hose this thing down, that they must be stepping on the snails all the time. So just be this like gross floor
popping
like,
from the
It's like when you step on a snail
when they're
in the rain.
Coming out infinitely, they're probably like, who cares about these disgusting things? I'm just going to step on them. So there's probably a floor of greasy, slimy, gross snail shells broken that these kids are just stepping on as they go around the creature and bathe him.
Yeah, and
but not only are they bathing him, he got only the best to bathe him.
Only
the most athletic children.
Because he wanted them to not tire while cleaning him. It's horrifying.
Yes. He hates his own stench.
But not only that, but he also, according to one of the kids, it ate 3 kids today. Kids have died.
It's truly horrific.
It's horrific. This thing is eating children.
Jellyjam is sentient, but also incredibly wasteful with his kid slaves.
Yes. Well, he knows he has a great funnel for more kids that it's just chock full. The hopper is full for King Jellyjam.
But they must bathe him so that he does not smell his own sour smell.
Yes.
That is just, incredible. Everyone is grossed out and disgusted.
I got to say, there's a period of time where, as this happens, where I pictured this and it's so well descriptive. It's described so well that I was like, I hate using this phrase, but I think this is what kids would call a mood that I identify with, just being just being Jellyjam and trying to clean yourself and hating your own body. I was like, yeah, I can identify with this. I feel like this is a relatable monster.
King Jellyjam's a mood?
King Jellyjam is a mood. It's not a good mood, but it's a mood.
It's a mood, yeah.
You've been there. It's been 2 days. You haven't exactly gotten into the shower. Yeah. Snails are coming at you.
Wait, I wrote this down. Can I just backtrack 1 second before I read? There's a horrifying detail that was a good foreshadowing in the hypnotism that Wendy is playing softball. And by the way, softball, if you want to metagame it, softball is the best way to rack up king coins, because if your team wins, everyone gets a coin. So it's way better than doing these like 1v1 bullshit.
I will say, potentially something that King Jellyjam overlooked, that a grifter can get into a good softball team and sneak their way in. He can get a lazy kid.
There's definitely an outfielder who made it in. Yeah.
He will eat that kid.
That's true.
That kid does not have enough power.
It's not a perfect system, I guess.
It's a self-correcting system, actually.
It's true. Yeah. It's true.
So we find all of this out. Wendy gets the hell out of there.
Well, sorry not to cut you off. I just want to mention this part of the softball thing. It wasn't just that bit on the meta thing. There's a detail that's stated really well, is that Wendy is like taking practice swings, and suddenly she just feels like the sickening thwack, and she's hit Buddy right in the chest. A thwack. Yeah, great sound. She's hit Buddy right in the chest, and she swears she's broken a bunch of his ribs. And he says nothing about it, just smiles as like, hey, you're doing great. And there's something about the image of, if you really think about it, that Buddy saw Wendy swinging, because it's not her first practice swing, and he just walked right into it. When you realize that he's hypnotized, it's really horrific. It's something like out of that M. Night Shyamalan plants want to make you kill yourself movie.
It's almost a threat.
It's almost a threat. So but just to go back to that, I think that it's a great way to foreshadow, and Wendy even realizes like, oh my God, he was so hypnotized that Buddy just kind of like smiled through the pain and has no worry about his own self-care, that it makes another level of like the horror to this one.
Right.
And though it was not foreshadowed or set up anywhere other than maybe Elliot just laying on the ground, Wendy has the amazing idea to tell everyone to immediately just lay down on the ground. And I think about this idea a lot. My entire childhood, I've thought about this idea. Everyone hits the ground, and by immediately not washing Jellyjam, the stench becomes overwhelming. And Jellyjam tries to reach down to pick up the kids to eat them, and I think he gets one of them. But because his hands, I guess, are just so fat and gross and covered in snails, he can't like pry them off of the ground, which is a really cool idea.
He does open his big mouth and 2 tongues come out.
That's true. He has 2 tongues.
He has a twine tongue? Ew.
Yeah. He's got 2 tongues, and he's trying to eat a child to make them continue bathing him. And just a quick footnote, I believe Wendy escapes. She gets Elliot, and they go back.
She figures out the plan the next day. She figures out this full plan. Yeah. She reads the raid notes and figures out what the raid boss, what his attack radius is, and she figures that out. Yeah.
You're right. And she's like, just stay out of AOE. Don't stand in the fire.
You're right. We totally jumped between 2 different nights. And I do.
That's okay. Yeah. It's not that big of a detail.
No, not that much really happens.
They do come back. She has his plan. Everybody gets down. He does manage to grab a kid, but he does not have the ability to pull them in to eat them, and he falls on his face. Splat. His crown rolls away. He's dead.
The king is dead. Long live the king.
They murder him.
Murder him.
Dead by his own hubris, much like Elvis, like that kind of thing.
Yes, totally.
And much like a good horror movie, what happens? The cops show up just after the kids take care of the problem.
Oh my God, I love that the cops showed up. What's going on here?
They were like, what the hell? That's the cops. And he's like, we smell something bad in town, so we followed it all the way here.
Yeah, it wasn't even that anyone got a hold of them. They just immediately felt the smell, which is probably, like a couple hours?
But that stank must have been so bad. It might not have even been hours, Chad. It was like minutes. It was crazy.
Yeah, that means it was really bad.
It was a bad smell.
Well, that said something about Jellyjam, King Jellyjam himself. So he must be some kind of alien or maybe under-earth creature that has surfaced and is so big that it appeared in this underground play area. I mean, there was a stage, so there must have been this must have been where kids did theater. But then there's this other tunnel where King Jellyjam was that I imagine he came to be there, whether it be by magical space force
or they rolled him down there or something. I don't know.
But he's not supposed to be in a confined area like that, and he stinks so bad. And that's why he has to be washed, because his stench is so bad in this small area that he has to be washed all the time.
I thought this, maybe it's just his diet, maybe because he's eating nothing but kids, like maybe he's just got real bad like BO, and if he had a little bit more like fruit and healthy foods.
He's eating like 12-year-old kids. He's eating like hormonal children. And all those children hormones are getting
all that acne oil. Oh my god!
And they're all jacked up on sugar, so they can't.
That too.
It can't be good.
I did want to hear like what I mean. It's fun. It's the general rule of horror is that it's scary when you don't know stuff. So it's good that they didn't. But I was like trying to figure out like what would have been the genesis of this plan. Like you're getting at, Dom, where. Was Buddy just like, I'm just hiking out in the woods, and then he gets hypnotized by Jellyjam, and then he goes forward like a vampire familiar?
Yeah, I think we got to assume that Jellyjam was he wasn't summoned, right? This was not a demon or a witch situation where they summoned Jellyjam. No one. He was complete, unless that person was eaten and we don't know about it.
Oh, it's possible.
Jellyjam, like you said, Dom, either emerged from an underground cavern, he got sent here from another dimension, or he came from space, right?
Yeah, one of those three.
I like the space theory. I like that a lot.
I like the dimension one, actually, personally. I didn't even think about another dimension.
Maybe he didn't stink enough in his dimension.
They kicked him out, or maybe he stunk too bad and they kicked him
out.
Maybe
I like that. I like that. But you're right. The cops show up, and they also mentioned the parents are there. They said that they called the camp like days ago, and they had never heard a response. Like
Buddy said that they weren't there.
Yeah, they had never heard. There was no one there.
And Buddy was like, "No, they're not here."
Right.
It also makes you like, yeah, they probably, if they'd been smart, they could have just gotten on the road and been fine. Like they could have, but that makes it feel more real. Like that feels like they were brought into a cult and they couldn't escape.
Well, and as children, they did the right thing, and they didn't go hiking around. They stayed still because that would make them easier to find.
That's right. And there's one more tag in this story, by the way. After the cops, everyone's heroes, our eternal friends, the police. They
never did anything wrong.
Never done anything wrong. Presumably beat all the counselors, not realizing they're hypnotized or whatever.
They had to beat the hypnotism out of them.
Buddy went to jail for sure. And they're reunited. We cut to like weeks later. They're back home. The family's just happy to be reunited. And there's a knock at the door, and it's Buddy, who's traveled to the house, not hypnotized. I guess I'm wrong. Absolved of all his crimes. Mm-hmm. And he's like, you know what? You deserve Elliot's coin, and he gives him a coin. He's an honest guy. He just wants to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Not at all like, hey, let me come live with you because I have no job now.
Mm-hmm.
After they receive the coin, there's a great moment that I was so ready to roll my eyes towards. And they smell this really gross odor, and it just turns out Mama's making like broccoli or Brussels sprouts or whatever. And
they smell this sour odor, and you're like, oh no, they just got this coin.
Yep.
What's this sour odor? And then they look, and Mom's in the kitchen, and she says, "What's wrong? I'm making Brussels sprouts." Boom.
End.
Not only so, it's such a great ending because this is a good Goosebumps book.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking.
Oh, I'm so glad you guys liked it.
Maybe Chad, you pull Guillermo aside next time you have to talk to him, and you say, "Hey, I know you like snails falling out of people's bodies. What if they fell out of a purple monster's body? You're gonna have to hit him up about this. I'm thinking maybe we could work together, all of us, on the King Jellyjam script." And Guillermo will direct it. I'm just
okay. Yeah, no,
here.
That's fine. I think we can get around with it.
But this moment, so it's a great book. But I love this moment because it ends with a jovial Bob Stein,
a classic Brussels sprout zinger at the end.
I gotta say, thank you, Mr. Stein. Okay,
thank you for this nice adventure.
This is the best one.
Yes, thank you, Stein. Thank you, Mr. Stein. You gave us a good one. I will say this: I think it's really fucked up that Buddy shows up at their house with a emblem of their slavery to give to them.
Yeah, like that was bad idea. Maybe I guess in 1997, whenever this came out, maybe you would do that shit. it nowadays,
tasteless.
It should probably, I guess it should have been like, oh, I reopened the camp. We're getting a new name, and it's called Camp Fun Time. It's Camp Esports.
He should have given him, given him like a freedom coin or something like that. Something nice to remind them that they're free of the horror of King Jellyjam.
You're absolved of your sins.
Could have given him an Olympic medal replica from the Scholastic Book Fair, maybe that.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Ooh! I found a creepy. Have you seen the picture on the wiki page for this book? There's a picture.
Go ahead and drop that in there.
See if I can get just the link here. I can't just get a link. How did you save that picture of the king?
I screenshotted it and then I dropped it in the Discord.
Oh, I'm not doing that. I'm just sending you the link. Ugh. Ugh.
Perfect time to shout out our Discord if you want to join us for fun discussions and get access to cool stuff like this.
We're currently dropping pictures in there, and everyone gets to see it. They were looking at the pictures we were sending earlier. Someone sent a horrific picture of Donald Trump as Quado from whatchamacallit, Total Recall, and that was
Total
horrific.
Recall.
Yeah, that's no fun.
Do you see this? Do you see his? He's even creepier with these stick legs that they gave him. We're looking at a picture of Buddy.
The conceptual images, which you don't get to see that often. All the different versions of the books that Tim Jacobus was going to do is really cool.
This is way scarier than the actual art, I think.
I think
so.
Yeah,
that is strange. That is really... Yeah,
he's like a Courage the Cowardly Dog villain or something.
Do you think that you would have liked that cover better, chat?
No, I would not have liked that. I prefer the cover that's not so. It's like scary in the face, but not so scary with the body. That body would have been a little distracting for me.
Very horrific. That guy looks,
but it does look like something that would visit Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Yes,
as Chad said.
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like all the other times we talk about Goosebumps books, we're ripe to rip on them, and this one's like a pretty solid general kid story. Like, there's not a lot
of very
like,
scary.
Yeah, and it's all downhill from here. Like, I don't know if it gets better. I don't remember any books that were better than this, but I think I get why, as a kid, this one really stuck with me in terms of not just a really cool monster. I love that the kids are smart and proactive about their own stuff. I like that the kids work together as opposed to all of them going like, "Oh, you're crazy! Shut up!"
Yeah,
lady.
I like that Elliot's not really a jerk. Elliot's just really into winning these king coins because he's competitive. It's not like he's an ass. Like Wendy and Elliot like each other in this book.
Yeah, they're working together, and she gets that she cares about him. There's no like, I decided to just leave my brother behind and hit the road. Like,
right.
It's a thing where it's a proof that you can have genuine solid scares without dumb plot contrivances, which I really like this one.
I would like to point out that our favorite books of doing this show have been Camp Jellyjam and Camp Nightmare.
The camp books.
These are both great camp stories. Camp, perfect setting for horror. There's some good ones out there. But hey, Jellyjam and Nightmare are both worthy of their own pedestal in the section of camp horrors, guys. I'm talking Friday the 13th. I'm talking Sleepaway Camp. I'm not talking what is that one called? The Burning. Have you heard that?
I don't know The Burning. That sounds like a sex thing.
So detail about The Burning. The Burning is based off of Cropsey, who was a real life murderer in New York. And it's also the inspiration for Clock Tower's Scissor Man.
Okay.
Yes, but however, it's Harvey Weinstein's first movie.
Cool.
So, anyway, just some details.
I'll say this. We're not sure if there's any good ones left, Chad, but so far, Camp Goosebumps books, not Camp Goosebuds, which you can get if you subscribe to us on Patreon. The Camp Goosebumps books have all been good, and there are 2 more books based around camps coming up in the original 62 books.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I could spend a while like musing about it. I think there's just something natural about being away from parents, on your own, being surrounded by dark woods. It just invites a lot more scares, and maybe it's easier for RL or whoever's writing these to kind of like avoid pitfalls by being in a camp. Like,
you don't have to do the annoying thing where the parents don't listen to the kids. You can get rid of that, right?
Yeah.
You got mostly kids you're dealing with, so the horrors are believable among all the kids. The kids will typically go along with it. And things are just scarier at camp because you're in the middle of the wilderness and it's dark and you don't have the safety net of being at home. It's just scarier.
I also think like most camp counselors in general have no idea what the fuck they're doing, and that adds another level of fear to all of your safety.
Most camp counselors are just busy getting their fuck on.
Yes, that is what their main priority is, because they're like 18 or 19, and that's just a mess.
They're at fuck away.
I mean, I don't even want to think about the counselors at esports camp.
Oh man. Oh, I feel it's gonna be the opposite. I feel like it's all porn trading amongst the kids, and then the counselors are just kind of like the opposite of drama class, where no one is even like making contact with each other.
They're probably really into gaming if you work there, so they're probably trying to get like whatever the highest rank of LoL is, diamond, platinum, whatever.
Yeah, they're trying to climb those ranks, not climb each other's bones, that kind of thing.
Not trying to climb that stank, trying to climb that rank.
If you send your kid to esports camp, they're coming back maybe a Nazi.
Oh, interesting. Well, now we just got to go to one to see what happens.
Something to consider.
Guys, I'm going to sign up for esports camp this summer. I'm quitting my job.
Let that sink in.
Let it slink in.
Let that slink in. Guys, I think that's a solid Goosebuds.
I think that, hey, I had a great time reading it. I had a great time recording with my buds here.
Likewise. I'm really glad you guys got to enjoy this one with me, for sure.
I think so. We're at the halfway point, right?
Are we?
We're over the halfway point.
Oh my God. Point. And then there's just troves of other RL universes to play with.
I gotta say, Chad, if this is the best book that this series has to offer,
I think so.
The 5 years have been worth it.
Oh, that's really nice to say. I really appreciate it.
And we're going to have an anniversary show. We should do... Are there enough people in Los Angeles that we can do a live show? Probably not. In saying that out loud, I realize probably not.
I think what we do is we go to RL's house for our anniversary show.
Just 123 Spook Street.
Yeah, we just go there, shocker on Shock Street, that kind of thing. And
123 Shock Street.
We just get him. We just gotcha journalism him and just be like, you're on the podcast, let's go. And he's like, I've been waiting for this day.
I've been waiting to be abducted by 3 men.
He just starts handcuffing himself. Take me.
Yes. He has his own chains. He has his own chains
and handcuffs. Yeah, he just has them ready to go.
Oh man. Let's figure out what we read next soon. I think we can say this on the podcast. We talked about maybe opening up that we'll vary up the order of the books a little bit and offer it up to the Patreon listeners to vote on which ones we jump into next. Maybe jump around a little bit.
Yeah. Well, hey, we'll leave it up to our show's supporters, because it's like PBS. Goosebuds is brought to you by listeners like you.
What a great segue. Let me say, if you really want to support the show, there's numerous ways you can do it. You can go on iTunes and leave a review. We're definitely going to read them on the podcast. You can follow us on social media. We're on Twitter at GoosebudsPod. You can email us at goosebuds@gmail.com. And if you really want to support the show to a higher level in a way that we'll really, really appreciate, you can go to patreon.com/goosebuds and pledge your support. We have a couple different levels you can pledge at. But what you'll get access to is our private Discord with some amazingly awesome, cool people in it, sharing personal great stories and weird images, and it's a really solid little small community. And you also get access to Camp Goosebuds, which we mentioned before, the scariest format possible, as we've established with camps, where all 3 of us hang out and shoot the shit and get a little crazier and wilder than a normal Goosebuds episode.
The latest episode of Camp Goosebuds, but actually the last 2 are just so... I've had a great time. Mm-hmm. I don't remember the other ones because they're too far in the past. But the last 2 were great. And in the latest Camp Goosebuds, I believe for January, you can learn all about Chad's sports career. You guys gotta listen to this episode if you haven't heard it.
It's a tragedy for sure.
I had such a great time listening to Chad's stories about playing football. I loved it. I was smiling ear to ear.
I'm glad to hear it. Someday we'll turn it into a movie like Rudy.
It's a tragedy for sure. I love that.
Guys, should we wrap it up there?
I think that's great. Yeah, I think. And look, if you liked our talk about the Michelin Man, the Pillsbury Doughboy, and the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man fucking, that's basically what you're gonna get when you listen to the Camp Goosebuds.
for hours at a time.
Yeah, for hours at a time.
You know, for a certain amount of money, we'll only talk about that, but we'll leave that up to you.
That's a new pledge level that we'll have to add in.
The Marry Fuck Kill podcast, where it's just about ranking mascots to bone.
And which ones would have sex. Hey, before we go, I'm just going to shoot this to you guys. And we don't have to make this into a deep discussion, but I'm going to throw it to you. Fuck, marry, kill. Ronald, the Hamburglar, Grimace.
Ronald, the Hamburglar, and Grimace. Okay. I know mine. Okay. Yeah.
We don't have to explain them. We're just going to say them and we're going to get going.
I need to ask a real quick rule clarification. If you marry the person, do you not get to fuck them?
I thought marry was implied long-term loving and sexing.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'm positive on my thing.
Okay. Paul first.
Fuck Ronald, kill the Hamburglar, marry Grimace.
Wow. Okay. Very different. Mine are very different. Should I go?
Yes.
Kill Ronald.
Wow.
He's the first to go, that fucking creepy mascot clown. Fuck Grimace, because I think there'll just be some like sweet cushion pushing.
That's what I was thinking about marrying him. I was gonna have that
I guess that's true. Like it's like humping a couch. And then marry the Hamburger, a little less sexual, but more just like he provides for me. He takes care and brings in
he steals
food.
For you.
Yeah, he steals for me. Yeah.
I agree with that, Chad. You know, I respect that. I would kill Ronald. I think I would fuck the Hamburglar, because that's probably going to be some pretty good sex.
Yeah,
let's just go ahead and say.
I also want to
that dude. Hamburglar fucks.
I also want to add, I have not been picturing that new sexy Hamburger they did a couple years ago. I'm picturing the cartoon grown man-child Hamburglar. That's my husband. Yeah,
my logic is that he runs around a lot. He's eating all those calories. He must be burning them all.
Oh yeah,
behind the scenes with sex, and then marry Grimace, because you know he'd just be a big pillow that you get to hang out with.
Yeah, I love this idea for it. This is
and
great.
With that, thanks for listening to Goosebuds.
Thank you for listening to Goosebuds. We love you.
We'll see you soon. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Goosebuds is brought to you by listeners like you, and we'd like to thank some of our favorite listeners, our $5 Camp Goosebud patrons that are being immortalized in the Book of Names. First off, Kale Clinton.
Try to understand, he's a Meowmers man.
Hollis Hornbeak.
Stefan Jive Turkey Kuwabara.
Fred Atkins.
Nathan Dolezal.
David Cron.
Chris Birch.
Dapio.
Mickey C.
Michael McDowell.
Clayton C.
Kayla Tharp.
Buddy Morrill.
Mike Lanterry.
Nick Hinkle.
Joshua P. Robertson.
Cameron Murphy Audio.
Daniel Caleas.
Jim Greaves.
John Luke.
Jared Mason.
Martin A. Macias.
Sang Keith.
Matt Sadler.
Nat2 Pearl Henderson.
Joshua Lopez.
The Rupel Productions.
Jonas or Jonas Blotterman. We've yet to be contacted about that
name. Jonas or Jonas, please let us know.
Jobs.
Christopher Boyce.
Afshin Modeleb.
Mickle Hartscorn _
Danky McStanky.
Bean Daddy Spook Boy back again.
Jennifer Britton.
Carly Sarnowski.
Stephen Ghost Kisser Daniels.
Victor.
Brandon Rowdenbush.
Aaron T. Strunk.
I did the Z so I'd be last. Have a good night, Goosebuds. Tricked ya!
We tricked ya. We did it in a different order. ZZZ.
Tricked ya.
John Jimko.
Heath Robinson.
Turtle Mansa.
Chris Culver.
Sleepy Boy 69.
Joe, remember to save early and often. Scott, very smart.
Good advice. Paul Grasso.
Walter Frazier.
Brian Wells.
Taylor Dierks.
The Dragon Llama.
Zenticles.
Drew Applegate.
Michael Knight.
John Keaty.
Logan Troiano.
Aaron watching you sleep, Dom Cole. He must be.
Alistair Perez.
Stealth Bates.
426-911.
Oh my God. Scott Colopy.
Vincent Modica.
Patrick Reynolds.
S.
Luke Noodles.
Third Sergio.
Slumlord Onion, Duke of King Jellyjam.
Wow, he's subservient to King Jellyjam?
Yes, but he's gonna rise and take over the throne.
Fuck yeah.
Wow.
He stanks too, though, because he's an onion. Sam Bambino.
Jason Crooker.
Connor Church.
Willa.
Miguel Pardo.
Tom.
David Lee Backbone, a.k.a. DL Spine.
Just a pretty good dog overall.
Christina Doling.
Clay Castle.
Jake Young.
Axel Rock.
Calf.
Shifty Swamps.
Cody Redfield.
Matt Bachelor.
Randy Hernandez.
Trendy Moron.
Tyler Penner.
Divaldi.
Maddie.
Poyo Aboyo.
Ishak Arifin.
Matthew Rieger.
Ryan Melfi.
Heidi Shanks.
Gabe Chavez.
Reinfected.
Cougar Calquan Capoman.
Hector Alberto Rivera Ortiz.
I'm too lazy to come up with a clever name, so fuck it.
Cameron McLean.
Jack Frazee.
Alan Saylor.
Kyle Billings.
Sam Z. Hash.
James Roy.
Magagello.
Chosen One.
Gregory D. Warren.
Jin K.
Bradford Coulter.
Jonas Eggman.
Or Jonas Eggman.
Who knows?
Rich Hillborn.
Ethan Obama.
Aiden Dice.
Dylan Vaughan.
Toothless Barry. The Whistler. Bostowitz.
Dan Henshaw.
Reeds Dubendiek.
Joshua Jacobwitz.
Andrew Sheriff.
Justin Wagman.
Bex Moss.
Joey Evans.
Matthew Literal.
Cry Bricky.
Nick B.
Big Bo on the beat.
They took my thumbs.
Cardboard Walk.
The John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation. That is often heard here on local KPCC as a sponsor.
They have it here,
It's a good
too,
cut.
actually.
It's a good deep cut. They're everywhere. Maybe they're the Illuminati.
Oh, good God.
Oh, that's the real one. Tommy Breakfast Lich Hoey.
Goblin Library.
Eric LeBaron.
Carewise Gamgee.
Rug.
Andre Villanueva.
Up and Champ.
Cameron Hansen.
Alicia Grafe.
Solezo.
Swaggy Yolo Squire.
Gets linked to B-word.
James Hudson.
Anthony Kuwabara.
Malicious.
I love
Carl.
that one.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Carl Kleinasser.
Senpai Gods.
Lee Wood.
Brock Graham.
Yanni Markovina.
Hugh Bolin.
Jake H.
Frank V.
Generally depressing.
Hope you're doing well. Elusive Koala.
Ito no more.
Jessica Zybol.
Paul's Christmas Sock.
Oh. Probably a slink hiding in there. Blake Alvarez.
Kristan Von Skeever.
And, yeah.
Pallet Town Champ, bitch.
Oh,
there we go. Wow, I said B word. Paul said the real thing, even though it wasn't there.
I love saying a bitch. And I'm sorry it's a bad word, but I love saying a bitch.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't?
I spit when I said it. It's gross.
It was powerful. It scared me.
Thanks, guys. We love you all so very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.